So one of the biggest things that millennials are terrified of is dating. This whole dating thing, like, what if I never find one, or when is he coming? All of my friends are getting married and I'm still single. Listen, Linda, honey, listen, let me tell you. It's great being in a relationship, and I'm speaking as someone who is currently married and as someone who remembers for a nice decade, just about, I was single, and there were times when it was rough, but I didn't spend that whole decade belly aching about it. Were there times when it was like, dang, am I really gonna continue to be the only single person in my crew? Yeah, but the way I got through those times was I just really decided to focus all in, go all in on my purpose. Like, why am I here? God, what do you have for me to do? You know, and really seeking that out. But the main question that I asked myself, and that you have to also ask yourself, is what if my worst fear comes true? Right? What if, because I don't know why for some reason like 30 is like the age for everybody. What if my 30th birthday comes and goes and I still don't have a man? And I don't have one at 31. I don't have one at 32, 33, 34. What if you actually are still a virgin or still abstinent or whatever at like 37 and 40 years old? Is that really the worst possible thing that could happen to you? No. That, my friends, is what you call first world problems. You know, if you put things in perspective, it really is laughable how the enemy tries to make us feel like we are insignificant if we don't have a significant other. And that is a lie from the pit of hell, okay? People should not make singles feel like there is nothing for them if they don't have someone that they're attached to. You have so much purpose. If you go back and you look through the Bible, some of the people who accomplished the most were single. Okay, they didn't have children and responsibilities and all of that. They could just wholeheartedly go after what God wanted them to do. And they did that, and they were beasts at it. So while you are in your season of singleness, do what I did. I got degrees, I pursued my purpose, I read just about every book on singleness and being whole in Christ that I could get my hands on. I fed myself the word constantly. I went to Singles Pleasing the Lord Bible Studies. That's a group that meets here in Chicago, but you can also look them up online at www.singlespleasingthelord.com. I just kind of immersed myself in a culture that was alternative to what I was seeing, right? If you're trying to go the direction of content in singleness and purpose and all of that, but you're constantly watching romantic movies, listening to romantic songs, and immersing yourself in the culture around us that is gonna make you want to have sex and want to be booed up with somebody, and you don't have that, and it's gonna make you constantly aware of what you don't have, right? So you got to turn the tables and you got to focus on something else, because there is a whole other world out here, and God has so much for you to do. And even after you get married, you're still going to be accomplishing the purpose that He has for you. So you might as well do it now, because it's harder to do when you have a husband and you have children and you have other responsibilities and you're still trying to pursue your ministry. So do it while you can. Do you. A lot of reasons that people have a hard time with dating or meeting the right person, it could be that you are not in the right place. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Years ago, in my early 20s, I was at a church, and you guys, oh my God, I was so hyper aware of my singleness, because it just seemed like everybody around me was coupled up, and I wasn't. And I was the kind of confident, very sure of myself person that a lot of you guys may be able to relate to, that can be too much for some guys. Not the right guy, but a lot of guys will seem that seem to think that you're too much, and you don't want to dumb yourself down to try to impress those guys. That is the absolute last thing you want to do. But yeah, it was kind of difficult. I stuck out like a sore thumb. And again, when I had to realize that there was nothing wrong with me, that who God has for me just was not there, things began to get better. I began to really focus in better on getting to know me and who I was. It didn't make it any less difficult to feel left out of the whole of the fun, or to not feel desired. But you know, I dealt with that by talking to mentors, by journaling a lot, and really just falling in love with who I was as a person, and just really talking to God a lot. And when he answered me and told me that after a few years, this was about 4 years of this, he began to tug at me that he wanted me to go someplace else. And so I kind of sea-lied on that for a moment, and decided to make sure that was really him. Am I really supposed to leave this place of worship and go somewhere else? Was that a me flesh moment, or God, is that really you? And the more I began to pray about it, I began to feel the tug that really was him. So I had my meeting with my pastor, and he prayed with me, and I went on my way to this new church. I didn't know what God was going to do with me there, but I was focused and ready and determined to be all that I could be spiritually. And so as I came to this new place, which was huge, it was so huge. There were so many thousands of people at this new church. I was like, what? You know, that was a scary moment too, because it's like, well, I'm just a number here. Like, you know, I could go and talk to my other pastor and had a relationship with him. This pastor, you know, this church was so big, there wasn't opportunity to get to know leadership one-on-one. There wasn't like small groups. I mean, they had different things you could get involved in, but it was pretty much God pulling me to where I could get like spiritual military training. That's the best way I could describe it. And I was focused on that. I was like, okay, I'm at this church, I'm gonna learn everything that I can. And when that became my focus, you guys, wouldn't you know that God was up to something else? The guy that I am married to now was at this new church as well. I didn't know he was there. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go to this church because it's bigger and I can beat me some men. That was the absolute last thing on my mind, like the last, to the point where when this guy was brought to my attention, I was thinking it was the devil. I was like, the devil is trying to distract me with a guy, and I'm not even here for that, and I'm trying to learn about God, and I can't be thinking about guys anymore. Right? But God had to show me confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, and I was like, okay, all right, well, God, if this is really you, then you're gonna have to hook it up, because I'm not saying anything, because it's not my place to say anything. And long story short, God did just that. So don't worry about so much like, is this gonna be the guy? Don't ask the question for every guy friend you meet. Oh, is this my husband? Is this my husband? Is this my husband? You know, just enjoy platonic relationships, enjoy friendships, treat every brother like a brother in Christ, and go after your purpose. Guys can smell desperation. They can smell it. They know when you are like, I really want someone, I really want someone. And a lot of guys don't know how to deal with that kind of attention, and they can misuse you when you feel that way. So don't ever sweat a guy like that, okay? You have got it going on. You've got purpose. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. Stay encouraged in the faith and pursue your purpose.